Hi, everyone. My name is Kevin Tucker, and I am Chief Curator of the High Museum of Art. It is my great pleasure to welcome all of you to this evening's conversation, held in conjunction with the exhibition Viktor&Rolf, Fashion Statements, which is organized by the Kunsthalle Munich and curated by my friend and colleague, Thierry-Maxime Loriot, in collaboration with Maison Viktor&Rolf. Perhaps you are a museum member and have had the opportunity to preview the exhibition a little bit earlier this evening, but if not, no worries. Please plan to return, and I will say return many times, through the course of the exhibition, which will continue through February 8th. Before we begin, I'd like to give a special thanks to longtime High Museum board member and arts patron Lauren Amos, who has provided a generous gift to the museum in the creation of the Lauren Amos Fashion Project. Over the coming 5 years, this project will support major fashion exhibitions like this one, a curatorial position, and related programs for everyone to experience. I would also like to extend a thank you to our exhibition series donors, Delta Airlines Incorporated, Sarah and Jim Kennedy, Harry Norman Realtors, Robin and Hilton Howell, and our other generous sponsors. And, as always, thank you to all High Museum members and to the High team for their essential support to make this program tonight happen. At the end of the conversation, there will be an opportunity for each of you to ask questions. We'll have a chance for you to stand, and you'll be given a microphone, and you'll be able to pose your questions to Viktor&Rolf and Thierry. And please be sure to remember that there is a wonderful exhibition catalog for this that is available at our museum store, and we do have a limited number of personally signed copies by Viktor&Rolf available for purchase. So we hope that you will take advantage of being able to acquire one of those either after the presentation tonight or at a future date. This evening, we are joined by some very distinguished creatives. You've already seen their bios here online as well, and so I will simply say that we are terrifically honored and excited to host internationally acclaimed artists and designers Victor Horsting and Rolf Snoeren in conversation with the exhibition curator Thierry-Maxime Loriot. Please join me in welcoming Victor, Rolf, and Thierry to the stage.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
How are you, y'all? Are you good? Yes? Can I start by asking, any of you saw the exhibition? Oh, many. Good. It was good? Well, great. And I also have another question. How many of you are students here in fashion? Not that many. Oh, good. 2 only? That's it? That's good. Super. Well, welcome, everyone. So for those of you who haven't seen the exhibition or seen the exhibition, I think it will be fine for everyone because we'll discuss the universe of Viktor&Rolf, their passions, their obsessions, since now more than, 35 years almost?
We met at art school in 1988.
Oh, yeah.
So that's
almost
37 years ago.
Yeah.
And we started working together in 1992. So, yeah.
I was born, so. We were all born. So for those who you'll see a lot of images on the screen behind us. It's more to show you the spirit of the exhibition for the ones who haven't seen it. What has fascinated me about Viktor&Rolf is that, I've worked with different fashion designers from Jean-Paul Gaultier to Thierry Mugler, and Viktor&Rolf, they're really fashion artists. They don't really fit, I think, in one specific category because it's about conceptual art, conceptual fashion. But I would be curious to hear, how do you define yourself and why do you define yourself as fashion artist?
the question is asked quite often, like, what do you do? What is it? Is it fashion? Is it art? And we kind of try to evade that question, and that's how we came up with the term, the term fashion artists, to evade the question. I think what we try to do, and perhaps what sets us apart from other designers, is that fashion is often about style, about how you want to look, what you want to wear, and that's all very important, and that's important to us too. But we somehow always seem to want to say something with our work. It's like we want to tell stories with the collections we make. We use it almost like language, sometimes literally, because there's words on our clothes. And I think that's perhaps a bit different from other designers.
Because when we enter the exhibition, so you'll discover this this dress that it's upside down. It's not a mistake. It's really meant to be worn like this. When you design a collection like this, how do you collaborate together? How does it work when you're two people designing one collection? How do you start?
That's a good question, and that's that's very difficult to answer because we try not to analyze it. It just clicked from the moment we sat down for the first time to think about what we would like to create, and it has been like that ever since. We sit down at a table, we close the door, and we talk, and we have an ongoing conversation of 37 years by now. And the work we make comes from that conversation, and it's about who we are, where we are in our lives, how we feel about fashion. Often our work is a reflection on fashion. Quite personal. Sometimes it's almost like therapy, like working through the emotions and putting it out into the work, putting it into the world, which helps us to get past certain experiences, certain emotions.
Is there anything you disagree on?
We hardly disagree. There's one thing, if we take a taxi or in a car, because Victor likes the temperature cold and I like it warm. So that's always a difficult question.
It could be worse. Also, you've been known and celebrated also for your performances. Many of your shows, you are present in the show for different reasons. One of them that you discover is actually after the introduction of the exhibition. It's called Russian Doll, in which this American model, Maggie Reiser, I'll let you explain it for those, because it's very, actually it's the show that you see here, so you can have an idea of what it looks like, the result. Can you explain how this idea came up? And
yeah, I'll try to be brief.
You don't need to.
we decided we wanted to be fashion designers to put on fashion shows in Paris, and we said to ourselves, we are going to show during couture. But to put up shows when you're just two people, it takes a lot of money, a lot of organization. So we had done a few shows, and we came to a point where we said to ourselves, it's kind of expensive to put on a show. What do we do? Also, we're very interested in the ritual of the fashion show and the fact that couture is for a very select audience, and it is almost like an art form. So we wanted to do something that would create something that would almost be ceremonial, like a ritual. So there was this, on the one hand, this idea of this ritual where we wanted to offer our work or our creation to one goddess. Let's say, like, we create an icon, sort of like a symbol of the sublime. And on the other hand, there was the fact that we had no money, so we thought models cost a lot of money. If we just use one model, it's going to be much cheaper. So there you go. So the show, during the show, we dressed one model, Maggie Reiser, on stage in 9 consecutive layers. And each layer was covering the previous layer very meticulously. So let's say, the happening or what was happening was influencing the design. And it needed to be done on stage. And yeah, it was like a conceptual necessity that it was us. It only made sense that we would do it.
a bit like when you did, for example, the Zen Garden collection or the wearable art. was the same also. You needed to be on stage, so it was more a necessity to be able to express it.
And every time we do it, because we are quite introverted people, we say never again. But somehow these ideas just pop up, and then we have to do it.
When you design, does it happen sometimes that people will give you some output? Like if someone, like for example, we have a very exceptional loan. It's the wedding dress of Princess Mabel from the Netherlands. And when you've been asked to do a royal wedding like this, what was your reaction? And because you're known for such conceptual clothes.
Yeah, indeed. We thought it's a royal wedding. It needs to be very proper. We need to tone down our style a little bit. So we made a few proposals that were quite conservative, and we proposed them to Princess Mabel. And eerst over de koningin. She took the drawings. She accepted them. She took the drawings to her future mother-in-law, then Queen Beatrix of the Netherlands. And then she came back, and there were corrections in the drawings with red pen, because the Queen was not amused. And we wanted to keep.
She was as well as a sculptor in her free time.
Yeah. Anyway, the first proposals were rejected, and Princess Mabel was very clear in saying, "I chose you because I want something that's outstanding." And so we tried to, live up to that request.
So wearability was important in this case, but sometimes I know a lot of people often ask me, like, is this wearable? You've done collections that, you explored also the idea of, could you wear a painting? Can you wear a sculpture? You'll see some examples on the images behind us. Why do you need to explore things related to the art? Is it because the art world, galleries, museum embraced you first, or?
I think we, like I said before, we use the shows and our collections to tell stories, and we try to do that in the clearest way possible, to communicate in the clearest way possible. And often, when you exaggerate or when you take an extreme standpoint, it works because it becomes more understandable. The references to the art world, that's a bit of a long story. Maybe that's...
We have time.
I kind of lost my train of thought.
No, because we were talking about the Cubist references, and I saw this show, and it's sometimes very impressive to understand how these models can walk with this, but it's always, you have these rehearsals, and of course it's all planned. But you will see, for example, in the ballroom, you have this idea of, you're known to do these incredibly beautiful ball gowns, but you did this collection, the late
stage capitalism walls.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can you explain this one? Because the dresses were worn in such different ways. What was the idea?
Yeah, I think the couture collections, there's a very clear distinction between the couture collections we do, and that you see now, the images of, and ready-to-wear collections. Ready-to-wear obviously is intended to be worn, so there's a wearability aspect that needs to be considered and addressed. And with couture collections, we treat them like a laboratory. We feel free to experiment, and we're also quite cerebral. Like I said, we want to try to say something, to give a message. With this particular collection you mentioned, the upside-down dress, that's the first one you see. It's a good example of how disconnected sometimes body and clothes are for us. On the one hand, there's this image of this dress, or this idea of this dress, this lovely, romantic, beautiful, gorgeous tulle ball gown that we all have an idea of. And on the other hand, there's the body. And we wanted to create something where the two were sort of almost randomly meeting in space. dress meets body.
When we gave the sketches to our team, to our atelier who needed to make it, they said, well, guys, there's something like gravity. But we are firm believers that if we can draw it, then it's possible to make it.
Great. Also, there's a lot of slogans that we can find in your. You started with the No collection. I think this is a very interesting story that maybe you can share with us. But also in collections more recently, also some slogans that became quite viral, if we can say. Can you explain why words are important also to be on your clothes?
Yeah, it started with this quote that says no. It's true, we use text quite a lot because we always start with words, with talking to each other, and we cannot design unless we have put our idea in writing, in words. So that's always a start for anything we do, for collections, for exhibitions, also for fragrances. It started with the name, Flower Bomb. When we were designing this particular collection where there were no pops out of a coat, it was at a point where we felt exhausted with the fashion system, and we felt incredible resistance to the fact that we had to design yet another collection, that the industry was demanding new designs. So we were sitting at this table that I was talking about before, and we were writing down the word no over and over again on top of our sketches. So at a certain point we said to ourselves, why not use it? If it's there, perhaps we should turn this into our design. Instead of denying it, embrace it. And that's how this happened. And it's a good example of how we work, right? It's
a bit like therapy. After that collection, we felt again free and.
And what about the collection with the fashion statements? What was the idea behind it?
That particular collection is, on the one hand, extremely sugary, romantic, let's say kitsch, very colorful, tulle dresses, and then there's all these almost random texts that are put on top of it, and we like this juxtaposition of two worlds. Like you can be kitsch, feminine, romantic, over the top, and also have this edge. And funnily enough, this particular collection that's also commenting on the way internet is functioning went viral. We doubled our followers on Instagram, for instance, because of this. What do you know? Yeah.
Because you're not really. One thing that is quite interesting also is, when you work with people like Viktor&Rolf, they don't design to follow trends, they initiate them, which is very different. And you never work also with a specific woman in mind. You don't work for red carpet season thinking, oh, maybe this actress will wear the dress to the Oscars. What is your relation with celebrity wearing and social media and all the buzz with likes, comments, and being present on social media?
Oh, that's a few questions in one.
Yes.
Well, we are pre-digital era.
Yeah.
We're on the other side of the digital divide. So we're from the time when we would cycle into the center of the village to look at Vogue or look at a magazine, and then go home and dream about this perfume ad that we would see and have. So there was this notion of glamour and this notion of what fashion is, but it was connected to mystery, to a sense of mystery and unattainability, of exclusivity, because it was so rare. There was the access that exists nowadays, it didn't exist at that time. And I think we took that feeling with us. We're taking that feeling with us, and we're always trying to sort of relive it in a way. And that's perhaps difficult to understand for people who grew up with social media.
But your questions about celebrities, or it's really an honor to see people wear it. It's not something that we are incredibly fascinated by. For us, the work is ready when it leaves our office. It's ready when we made it, and then it's really up for everyone who enjoys it. But we have no particular vision of.
But what about the red carpet collection?
The red carpet collection. Yes, that's a collection where we thought, let's address the red carpet. So we made clothes out of red carpet. And they were shown on a red carpet to a soundtrack of a clapping piece of music. So yeah, that's our take on the red carpet, I guess. But having said that, it's true, it's great when fabulous people wear our clothes and look great in them.
Yeah. I think you also like to do a social commentary about what is going on in society at the moment. Just to go back to maybe your beginnings, because you're coming from the Netherlands. Let's say that maybe the Netherlands are not known. It's not Paris or New York or London, and your families are not from fashion backgrounds or entertainment background. How did you start, and what do you consider was the thing that triggered the launch of your career? Yeah.
Yes. Well, I think we were both, like I said, as teenagers, fascinated by fragrance ads. There was not really access to fashion media. We went to art school, and when we left art school, we were unemployed, and there was not really a clear prospect of what to do in the Netherlands. So we decided to go to Paris, and at the same time, we knew of a contest in the south of France that was giving a platform to young designers with a very distinguished jury. So we participated in that contest, and in 1993, and there were three important prizes, and lo and behold, we won all three of them. But it's funny because all the participants were incredibly serious, and they all had their own brand. They had like labels in their clothes, and they had a visit, cards, business cards, and we had none of that.
We did not want to have our own label. It was just
No,
a one-off.
Yeah, we actually thought it would be a great networking opportunity. So, but then we won all these prizes, and we didn't even have a name. I mean, my name is Viktor, Rolf's name is Rolf. So they had to call us on stage, and every 3 times it was like, yeah, who won, Viktor and Rolf? So, and the name stuck.
What were the prizes that you won?
Well, it was in the south of France, in the small town of Hyères, and it's the city of palm trees. So we won 3 palm trees. So there we were on the podium with 3 pots of plants. Yeah. Plus there was a check from the city of Hyères for the way it was pronounced in French, and it was not clear if it was 5,000 or 100,000 francs. This was still in French francs. But never mind, because we never saw the money anyway.
This happens. And then at the beginning, were you thinking to maybe work for other designers, to launch your own brand? Because when you're two working together, how did you envision your future?
We did not really envision it. we really went from collection to collection. The first 5 years of our career, we just experimented with different mediums. We did exhibitions. We did. It was really trying to find our own language, who we were, and it was only like after 5 years that we said to ourselves, "Oh, we really want to be couturiers. We really want to start doing haute couture," which as well made no sense at the time because it was just the 2 of us. And
But in '96, you almost gave up, right?
Yeah, there was a point where we were fed up with everything. That happens quite a lot with us. And we thought, oh, again a collection. So we said, we go on strike. So we made a poster that said Viktor&Rolf on strike, and that was the collection. And then we put it, we were living in Paris at the time, we put it up in Paris, all over town, and we sent it to press. We sent it out to press as a message that we were on strike.
What was the reaction?
Well, at the time, nothing. It was more when we got known that poster became a thing and a point of reference.
Great. Also in the exhibition, we have a gallery that is dedicated to dolls. It might sound weird for some. Some people like dolls, but I think for you it has a very symbolic meaning also. Why do you use dolls every season to recreate something that is dear to your collection?
Well, we really love fashion and we love the catwalk and all of that, but we do find it a bit of a pity that the ideas that we put out there disappear after one season. They're discarded. That's the way fashion functions, you know. You have a collection, and then after a season, there's something new. There's an energy to that, but it's also a pity. So at a certain point, we decided to try to somehow keep the ideas, to hold on to them, and that's how we came to the idea of putting the most iconic outfit of a season on a replica of a Victorian doll. These dolls are not cute play dolls. They're very serious and they're almost a bit eerie. They have porcelain heads that are painted to look like the makeup of the show. They have hairdos that are made to look like the hairdo of the show. And then all the clothes are miniature couture versions of the garments from the show, and often these take longer to make than the originals because all the details need to be scaled down, all the accessories, all the prints, all the embroideries, everything. So that's really, that's a big job.
Also, there's a whole section of the exhibition that is dedicated to upcycling. Can you explain why, for you, this idea of being socially conscious and conscious also about overconsumption environment is important to you and how you use it?
We call it ourselves like conscious design. If you make something, it needs to have a reason, not to produce something just to produce. When at a certain moment we started to use our own archive to remake new things, shredding our own pieces and creating new things out of old things, something that we think is interesting, that different memories together create something new.
Yeah, I mean, fabrics, Rolf was talking about a collection where we used our own archive. We decided not to use any new fabrics out of environmental concern, and we thought it would be a great experiment also in working with restrictions. We really like that, to have restrictions, because it fuels the creativity. So we decided only to use fabrics that we already had in our archive, but these were fabrics sometimes from 25 years ago, from the last season, and we just mixed everything up and we wove them into new fabrics. And there was also an emotional reason. Well, it's emotional when something from 25 years lives next to something from 3 months ago. It's a bit like the mind works, memories work. You know, one moment you think about your breakfast, and then you think about what happened last year or 25 years ago.
Yeah. Because you've been also collaborating with many performers, even with Tori Amos, who was doing the soundtrack of the Bedtime Story collection. Rufus Wainwright, you did tap dancing also for one collection, and also the other shows that you were performing in it. How do you work when, for example, you did 3 collaborations with Bob Wilson?
Yes.
Yes. How does this exchange work when you're 2 working with another creator and you have a vision that you need to apply your own creations to? That's a good question.
Well, I think to begin with, yes, we are two, but we always say that we work like one. It's like one brain at work. So, yeah, that's just how we work. I don't think it's very different. It varies. It differs from one partner to the other. With Bob Wilson, for instance, we did 3 projects with him, and he's an amazing artist, and a great honor to have worked with him. But we didn't understand anything of his methods at the beginning. We went to a workshop. He starts with workshops when he makes something used to make a new production, and we just thought this, we didn't get it. So we almost declined to participate because we didn't understand. And then on the train back home, we said to ourselves, let's try something. So we proposed outrageous designs, and all we got was a confirmation. He said, okay, then we're going to do this. And this was for a ballet. And only very long time after the ballet was put on, looked fantastic. We heard that he had changed the entire choreography because we had designed high-heeled shoes for all the dancers.
But also the tutus, and even the opera singer, I think the costume was so big, I think she was complaining that she couldn't see her other characters on stage. Well, I know you use a lot of fabric, but also you did some costumes with pop stars. We see many videos in which you see Celine Dion and Katy Perry, Lady Gaga, even Madonna. You did costumes too. How was this collaboration with Madonna?
With Madonna. Madonna knows what she wants. Let's put it that way. She knows what she wants.
What was the brief?
What was the brief? I forget. I'm sorry.
I remember.
It was like a clown-like costume.
Who forgot to put her pants.
Sorry?
It was supposed to be a clown who forgot to put her pants.
Oh, right. And that's what was on stage, I think.
You can see the video in the exhibition. Also, there's really many things to discover. We received a lot of questions from the public, which I hope I didn't forget behind. Is it here? I'm sitting on it. 1 second. Oh, yeah. Oop. Many questions, but maybe we'll take some questions also from the... but there's already hands raised, so it's perfect. But maybe we start... Do we have a microphone? I don't know if I'm gonna... Well, I need glasses. I have too much equipment. I know that there was a question over here. Maybe if you can have the microphone. If you just can introduce yourself and stand if you don't mind.
Thank you. Thank you for being in Atlanta. It's never been a fashion city before, and now maybe you can put us on the map. I have a question for the legacy of the fashion industry. Which is more important, the artistry or the saleability of clothes?
I think it's always a balancing act. You need the dream and you need the practicality. In our case, the shows for us are, we cannot make any concessions. So for the shows, the artistry is the only thing.
Other questions?
Yeah, I'm intrigued by your comparison of creating collections and therapy, and I'm wondering if there was a collection that was especially cathartic for you.
Well, when you walk through the exhibition, you see the highlights of our career, which is of course amazing. But when we walk through it, we see as well the struggle and
Everything in between.
Everything in between. So I think there have been some therapy outcomes that have been edited out of this show.
Thank you. I think there was one also. Yes.
Hi. You want me to stand up? Okay. Okay, sorry. Hi, I'm Lashana, and actually I got introduced to you all by my 16-year-old daughter. So someone bought your perfume for her, and she fell in love, and she wanted every single Viktor&Rolf flower bomb. And I'm like, okay, that costs a lot of money, but we'll do it. Anyway, we are starting our college tours tomorrow. We're visiting 11 fashion schools. And I think she was doing something similar to you guys. She was interested in beauty and fragrance, but she wants to be in the fashion world. She doesn't know if she wants to be a fashion designer, but she wants to be a part of it. What advice do you give me as a parent to help guide her in choosing maybe the best fashion school for her and maybe being undecided in the direction she wants to go to in fashion?
I'm not sure if I understand the question.
Okay, as far as like, she wants to be in fashion.
Yeah.
She doesn't quite know where.
Right.
She doesn't know if I want to do beauty, fragrance, if I want to even design clothes. Maybe I want to be in fashion marketing. I'm not sure. I just know I want to be in that world. So what advice do you give me as a parent to help guide her in choosing, like, the best schools? How do we do this? Because I'm
I
a little
know the
confused.
answer.
You do?
We discussed it recently.
Did we?
Yeah, because it's funny. So, actually, what we were discussing, it's funny because a lot of people often wonder like how you can access the fashion industry, because it's an industry that a lot of people dream about, but I think they can only think that they can be fashion designers or models. But there's so many other things that you can do. You know, you can be, you can work in an atelier, you can be an embroider, you can design fabrics, you can make accessories, you can make shoes, you can make hats, you can, you know, be specialized into something. And I think it's really important for a young generation to see exhibitions like the ones of Viktor&Rolf, because they collaborate with so many different people. And also, as I was saying, you know, they don't follow trends, they initiate them. And they inspire also a lot of other designers and artists and creative people, you know, even costume designers or different people. So I think it's important for a young person, actually, that person is aware of all the different fields in the fashion industry that she can do, because she can become also a photographer. You know, in the exhibition we have this series that is made by Ahmad Barber and Dante Morris, who are from Atlanta. They have a fantastic career. They're 31 and 34, and now they're exhibited in the show because Viktor&Rolf gave them access to their couture archives, and they came to Paris to shoot. So there's a million things. I think it's very important that they explore, and that they, as you said, that they stick to their ideas, and that they don't try to fit a mold, but that they break the mold.
Yeah, follow your gut, I would say. Yeah. Your gut feeling.
Is that good? Yeah.
Hi, sorry. My name is Valera. I just had a question. I know you guys acknowledged that you share one brain for your collections, I guess you can say. So I just wanted to know that, like, if you all have a specific collection each that you felt that one or the other had more self-expression in.
It comes out of. I didn't really get the question.
Is there a collection that you think is more an expression of yourself?
Oh, they all are. They all are, and they're all like parts of. It's like a huge self-portrait, let's say. This exhibition.
Zen Garden is a good example.
Yeah.
I think in the end, what we are looking for is complexity. As I think we all are complex human beings, and we just like to explore different sides. Can be sometimes it can be aggressive, or it can be romantic, or it can be funny, or ideally it is everything together.
Good. I have a question here on the iPad, which is, what does the Viktor&Rolf Le Parfum smell like, and will you ever release it?
A re-release, maybe.
Maybe explain what it is
Yes.
for those who don't.
Yeah. So the first 5 years of our career, we were experimenting with a lot of different fashion-related ideas, fashion-related mediums. So we would make clothes, but also installations, videos, sound, a lot of different stuff. So we were picked up by the art world more than the fashion world. Well, not at all by the fashion world. And at some point we were invited by this gallery to create an exhibition of work, and we were completely free to do whatever we wanted. So we made an exhibition that would express our ambitions as young designers. And what we did is we made miniature installations of the most important ambitions that we had. So there was a very small miniature of a doll on a catwalk. We wanted to have our own catwalk shows. We didn't. A small doll in a shop, and a small doll in a photo shoot session. And there was also a fake fragrance, because we also wanted to be the kind of designer that was important and successful enough to have their own fragrance. And this was Viktor&Rolf Le Parfum. So we made this like this counter, like you see at Saks or wherever, with an ad campaign, and there were bottles, but all the bottles were sealed. You can't open them. And there were 250 of them, and they were all sold. But it's a secret. It's a mystery what's inside.
So will you ever release it? That's so good. I have a question also from a SCAD student who's currently doing a project on your brand. And that person is curious about how both of you used your creative education to guide your style.
We have a very, our education was very artistically oriented, very concept driven. We come from a country where, like I said before, fashion didn't exist. Now it changes a little bit, but so it was very much about ideas more than practicalities. Yeah, that's it. I don't know if this answers your question.
Yeah. We'll take more questions. Yes.
Hello, my name is Ingrid. It's a pleasure to meet you guys. It seems like you guys are in a long-term business relationship, creative relationship. How do you guys navigate that? And is there a memory or a moment in your career where you were like, wow, I'm so glad I did this, and I'm like so glad I did this with you?
Sweet.
The exhibition at the High.
We often say to each other that our biggest achievement is that we are still best friends.
Oh, thanks, y'all.
No, but true. It's it's such a gift to find someone that you can share this with, and yeah.
I think we have a question here.
Yes, so Terry, earlier you mentioned that the model on the catwalk who wore the upside down dress had to have on an earpiece to know where she was going on the catwalk. And then the model who's in Russian Dolls had on almost over 100 pounds of fabric at the end of the show. I'm just wondering, is there some sort of Viktor&Rolf boot camp for models? How do they prepare for this?
Well, there's a thought. Yeah, it's true
funny
that
because you see one also who came starting the show, but the opposite, wearing the whole collection, and it would undress her. You see her on the slideshow.
it's true that our creations can sometimes be a bit demanding. Yeah, we try. Our work is a lot about experimentation, laboratory for ideas, and sometimes, we look for the limit, and sometimes we also go over the limit. It doesn't always work, but yeah, these are examples where the models were, real troopers. Yeah.
Hi, I have a question. My name is Brittany. You talked a little bit about being before social media, and I also come from that time before social media. I'm just wondering, there's a lot of discourse around the rising online fashion critics and the lack of their, understanding and competencies of what it takes to build a collection. And I'm curious to know your perspective on, on social media and, criticism, the rising criticisms around designers and the impact it's had on the fashion industry.
For us, I think at a certain moment, we decided to stop reading comments or press, for that matter, whether it's good or bad. We just don't want to get too attached to what people think. It's not healthy. So we try to stick to our own convictions.
Hi. So I had a question about whether you separately or collectively have a way to kind of tap into your creativity. Do you have any rituals that you may do separately or together that kind of unlocks kind of the next big idea, the innovation?
We sit at a table that is very messy, and we doodle a lot, and we talk. We close the door and we talk, or we don't talk. There's silence, and often boredom helps, or borderline boredom. Yeah, I know. And then, obviously, with over 30 years of work that we've created, there's a lot of references that we don't even need to talk about. We'll understand when we speak. We'll understand what it is that we're talking about, even if it's just two words. Or so we can always tap into that archive of work and shared information. But it's not always easy, let's put it that way.
Good. Thank you very much, and thank you everyone for coming.
Thank you so much.